Open your mind's door to J-Snip 4. Open your mind's door to J-Snip 4. American dream, relocated to Tennessee. Now he's on 10 acres, GMO free. Planting info seeds in the minds of the sheep.
Man, sometimes it's good being the boss. Taking another pizza home. However, I'm on salary. I'm working way more hours than, normal. Obviously, new restaurant. I already knew this. I'm okay with it. So the boss, said, yeah, go ahead, sure, you can take a pizza home. Yesterday and today, working extra hours. Obviously, he knows, man, I'm his right-hand man. Take a pizza home. Before I get to the video, I gotta tell you about this. It's been a while since I had a barbecue pizza. Now, normally when you order a barbecue pizza from us, it comes with pulled pork. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna start doing it where you can ask for chicken. Regular, not like shredded chicken, but little pieces of chicken. Like you'd expect in a chicken salad that size. Like that kind of grilled chicken, little chunks of that on there. So you can choose either the chicken or the pulled pork with our special barbecue sauce that we have. And honestly, I sometimes just want a regular cheese pizza with either cheese pizza or with barbecue sauce. And I just went ahead and made it myself on the way out. Regular cheese with barbecue sauce. It smelled so good. I told the wife, I'm coming home with the pizza, for you guys and that kind of thing. And she says, all right. Kids love the pizza. None of them have had barbecue pizza yet. One of my little kids had one from Cece's Pizza. She did like it, but we'll see what they think about J-Snip 4's Ernie's Smokehouse pizza. It smelled so good, I couldn't resist, and I had to eat a slice. And then I sat down on the truck and said, man, I'm only getting 2 slices out of this anyways. Let me go ahead and get mine now. And ate another one right before I did this video. It is so flippin' good. Oh my God. If any of y'all ever stop by Ernie's Smokehouse Grill, you can look it up on the internet. Clifton, Tennessee. You gotta get the barbecue pizza. Now granted, at the moment we're only doing it at lunchtime. Dinner time. In about a month from now, we'll be doing it lunch and dinner all day long. We'll have a full menu. You can get anything all day long, that kind of thing. Anyways, Obamacare tax, which again, I will not be taxing anybody, blah, 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 blah. The Obamacare, the health care is not a tax. It's not a tax. It's not a tax. Supreme Court, it's a tax. And ironically, we heard on the radio the day the Supreme Court ruled that it was in fact a tax. So he lied through his teeth again. You are getting taxed, you sorry bastards, including myself. While we were driving up to Tennessee to look at some property before we moved out here, my boss and I, in his truck, listening to the radio, it just came out, Supreme Court, of course, 5-4 ruling, as always. And it always seems like it's the selected few who are always appointed by the president. Those guys, the club, those members, they always vote in favor of that stuff. So it is a tax, but I'm reading, actually yesterday I read this for the first time, that because the version that they passed as Obamacare, the whole package, or at least the tax portion of it from what I understand, had originated in the Senate and not the House. And by God, via the Constitution states clearly, all bills that get turned into laws must originate in the House first and then go to the Senate. So on a technicality, fingers crossed, of course I'm not going to hold my breath considering everybody who would rule on this, again, Supreme Court, up 5-4 ruling, it's legit when really it's not. So hopefully something like this may reach the Supreme Court before all this crap really kicks in 2014 or whatever. And they find that on that technicality that it started in the Senate and not the House, that it is thrown out. And we'll all cheer, yeah, we won one for the people. When in reality, if that's the only thing that gets thrown out of the Obamacare bill or healthcare thing, that's no win. That's nothing. Did you see what the rest of the crap that was in the Obamacare bill? For God's sakes. I mean, go look at the 1900, whatever, 2,000 pages and look at everything that was in it. This is one little speck of sand in a sandbox, for God's sakes, that we get back. Hey, yeah, we're not going to get taxed. If, in fact, they rule that, yeah, it originated in the Senate, it's scrapped. And Obama says, well, there's our checks and balances for you. That just goes to show you that the United States, we still function the way the Constitution says we're supposed to. And everyone else will cheer, and yeah, including me, I'll be happy that tax we don't get hit by that tax. But what about the other 99% of crap that was stuffed in there that had nothing to do with healthcare at all? And what about the massive fee that it will cost us over the 10 years? You remember the CBO, what is it, the whatever Central Budget Office, whatever it's called? Originally, we've looked at this. It's only going to cost $1 trillion over the 10 years, and we can move things around. Really, it's not going to hurt that bad. And then they passed the damn thing. It's now law. CBO comes out. We re-looked at stuff, the same stuff we looked at the first time. And you know what, man? After our second analysis, it's going to cost triple. I think it was triple of what we thought it was originally. So you guys were incompetent when we needed to get it passed, because no taxpayer would ever allow this kind of crap to happen when it would cost $3 trillion or whatever the ultimate total was. And now we're telling them it's $1 trillion. It's not that bad. And then they pass the law and then say, you know what, we found some stuff we must have skipped over, or my calculator wasn't working that day. I thought it was $1 trillion, CBO, but the budget office, now it's 3 times that amount. And I'm saying it's $3 trillion because I thought it was $1 trillion. But it could in fact have been $3 trillion, and it's triple that, $9 trillion. I don't know the number. I thought it was $1 trillion, and now it's tripled. And the stock market's up. Gold and silver's down, you know. So many people are going to be slaughtered by the stock market when they pull the plug on it. And they're going to pull the plug because they know they have to pull the plug. We are also going to see a devaluing of the United States dollar. Unheard of, preposterous, will never happen. Just like Timothy Geithner said, we will never see the United States take a credit rating. Our credit, there's no chance. Zero chance. Cut the guy off, there's no way. A month or 2 months later, bingo, United States gets a credit loss, get a credit rating hit. Little Timmy Geithner, what happened, buddy? Oh, that's right, he's stepping down now. That's right, he's going away. Oh, that's right, all of the top dogs have decided to step down. And old Ben Bernanke himself, by 2014, I'm stepping down in 2014. Now, what I don't remember is at the very beginning of 2014 or at the end of 2014. I thought it was the beginning or sometime in 2014, which will tell you that you know when they're going to devalue the dollar. It will be around the time he decides to step down. He'll either do it right before he steps down, or the incoming guy who we're figuring out who's coming, then they do it right then and there. Kind of like Obama when he took office. Oh, he's the debt's $9 trillion, whatever, and Bush is stepping out. Obama's basically won, but he's not actually walking into the White House until late January. But in that little interim, we nailed it and jumped the debt up, to 12 trillion or 11 trillion, whatever. Well, I think it was 11 point something trillion. He takes office. 30 days later, let's take it up to 12 trillion. A year later, let's take it to 14 point whatever. Then it's 16, as you know. Now we're over the 16 trillion, and they've given themselves 90 days past January, whatever it was, or February, I forget the exact time frame, to just have no budget in place. Let's just let it go up as high as it needs to go. So, anyways, these are facts. This is something that's hard data that you can look at. You can't argue with what I just said. And when you look at that, you've really got to scratch your head. How is the stock market, because it's America's stock market. How is it doing so well? How are they able to just fudge these numbers? How are we just kind of not really telling that we're doing so bad? We've got 50 million people on food stamps, but it kind of seems to keep running. I mean, maybe they're right. But then you got that hard data punching you in the face, keeping you back in check. Realist news, reality. Wait a minute. The debt has almost doubled in one presidential person's term, in this case Obama. And before anyone gets on all that, it doesn't matter if it was John McCain, it doesn't matter if it was a Republican, it doesn't matter if it was Mitt Romney, doesn't matter if it was the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus themselves. Both fictitious. But then again, so is our economy, and the whole system is fictitious. We just think it's real. You know, we really think there's some substance there. There's nothing. So, the hard data tells you we're in deep, deep, deep trouble. And it also tells you, as Lindsey Williams has been saying, we will be defaulting on that debt, that national debt. And old Ben Bernanke, I've mentioned this before, thanks to Lindsey Williams bringing it to our attention. Ben Bernanke stated in 2002, November, I want to say 24th, but it was November, late November 2002, before he was Federal Reserve Chairman. They asked him if the United States was ever in some kind of depressionary, you know, bad times again, what would you do as central bank head, you know, Federal Reserve head? What would you do if you were chosen? And he, you know, I'm this expert in Depression era times, and I know what I would do, and this is what I would do. And he laid out basically 5 things he said I would do if we were facing those kind of bad times again to make the country, you know, float across it a little better than last time. And I can't remember all 5 at the moment. Forgive me, it's been a while. But he talked about bringing the interest rates down for the banking and all that, you know, down to near zero or at or near zero, which we've done. We would buy back our bonds or treasury bills because the other countries may not want them. We would buy them back, which we've been doing for the last 2 years, out of control, by the way. Most treasury purchases are by the Federal Reserve last year, and I believe also in 2011, for God's sakes. Having said that, he rattled off 5 things. And in case you're wondering, which I went and did a video a while back on this and rattled off all of precisely what he said, because I found online exactly his words, what he said, and I read them. And I rattled off all 4 of the 5 and said, man, isn't that funny? He's done all 4 of those. The first 4 out of 5 he's already got implemented. He sure did say he was going to do it in 2002 if he was chosen, and he's been chosen for 2 terms now. And strangely enough, he said, I'm not going to go again. I'm retiring. I'm stepping down from Federal Reserve at 2014 when the time's up. So he's done 4 of the 5 things, and the 5th thing he rattled off was probably the most significant of all the 5. He said, I would devalue the dollar. The 5th and final step he would take, I would devalue the dollar, is what he said. So if you're going to devalue the country's dollar and have to tell people what they've just done to their bank account, what they thought was an asset, what they thought was a nest egg in the bank, and just got devalued, you're probably not going to want to stick around too long. You're probably going to want to leave. So it's in my opinion, after researching all this, that either before he steps down, as he's stepping down, or just after the new guy comes in place for the new Fed leader or whatever, Federal Reserve head, they'll devalue the dollar. It will happen by then. They may also time it so that we are focused on a really big war somewhere, probably the Middle East, obviously, Iran, Syria, you know, that nonsense. They'll have a boogeyman, they'll have an event, you're gonna see it on the news. Oh my God, the damn Iranians attacked American ship, we were minding our own business. Maybe it was the North Koreans, they sunk a battleship of ours, or right, something, carrier. We're focused on war. You're not gonna be too concerned about your dollar getting devalued. Oh my God, World War III might be starting. And it was already planned. It was already planned. How do you know? JSNIP4, how the hell do you know it was already planned? Because I researched this stuff. I've been doing it for years, and most importantly, for hard evidence, because I know some of you may want a little more harder evidence than me just telling you, oh, I know this, understandably so. If you look at the executive order Obama passed, I did a video and read pretty much 90-something% of it. I believe the date was March 12th or March 16th, 2012, I think, or maybe was it 2011? I think it was 2012. March 12th or March 16th, 2012 executive order. You may want to search for that term, you know, JSNP 4 executive order 2012 or March 2012, something like that. YouTube come up, you know, into YouTube. And listen to what I have to say. It's a little bit of a lengthy video. I want to say it was about an hour, but it was a critical video. What was in this executive order? Didn't go through Congress, didn't go through the House, the Senate, no voting. Executive order. When you read it, you can see, man, they're gearing up for something. And one of the biggest pieces that stuck out for me was the sections in there that any secretary of blah, 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 secretary of this, secretary of that, in the top federal government has the authority to issue loans and back them to any company for any time, at any time, for any reason, during a, what was the term they used? During an event, during something, I forgot the term they used. And I read it, it's in there, the term they used, you know, during a unnatural event or wartime or, you know, something of that nature. And they can also, in the same executive order, we can have the authority, federal government says it now has the authority to take, let's say, a warehouse that manufactures something and say, man, we need you to start manufacturing something for the U.S. government like now, yesterday, and we know you don't got any money because everybody's broke because of what we've done. So we're going to give you the loan, we're going to back the loan, you don't have to even get approved, you're already approved. We will help you make this warehouse 2, 3, 4 times larger than it is now, retrofit you with proper equipment to do what we need you to do, and pay you to do all this, to manufacture, of course, to keep jobs in America. Got to keep them jobs going. And you really don't have any say-so about it. It's in there. Go watch my video, and furthermore, I mentioned the executive order. Go and read it word for word yourself. Not a single peep out of any mainstream media channel in the world. Probably in Iraq or Iran or the other parts of the world. I'm sure it was in there. I'm sure they were letting the whole world know about that news. Our news agencies didn't feel that that was important at all. That the president just basically passed some kind of law known as an executive order that bypasses the checks and balances. But because every president before him, and the one before him, and the one before that guy, and the one before that guy, they've all done it, well, he can do it too. Because if anyone stands up and the Supreme Court decides that's totally unconstitutional, that means that every single executive order, since the executive orders have started, going back decades and decades, would be null and void, and they'd have to wipe them off and no longer allow whatever they allowed to continue. In other words, there's not a chance in hell that that's going to happen. So, if any kind of FBI, law enforcement, Department of Homeland Security came to you, tried to nail you for something, and said, well, it's under executive order such and such, we have the authority. Do you think you're going to be able to reason with them and say, listen, executive orders from the get-go aren't constitutional? Do you think they're going to like listen to you say that? Or are they going to pound you in the face with their boot and tell you you better comply or else? That's probably how that goes, because that's what history shows. So anyways, back on the original focus of this video, I hope the Obamacare tax does get squashed, but even if it does, what about the other 99% of crap that was in there that was also disturbing, that had nothing to do with that? Anyways, I'm JSNP 4. This pizza is starting to get cold, and I'm trying to get home in a hurry so the family can have themselves a nice, yummy barbecue pizza like you've never had in your life, because you have never, ever had the barbecue sauce that we have on anything. So if y'all ever stop by on JSNP 4 over at Clifton, man, Clifton, Tennessee, right in the center of town, Ernie's Smokehouse Grill, with an E at the end of grill, by the way. I'd love to see y'all. If I got any fans in the area, I know I got one lady in Waynesboro. I don't think she stopped by yet. If she does, let me know that you're here. Come on, give you a little shout out, you know what I mean? Anyways, take care.